Hey guys, happy GA Flashback Friday, TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. I hope you guys are having a fantastic, magical, wonderful end of your week. I know I am. It is my day off, at least for the moment. I'm not holding my breath. Work has been crazy this week. You know, we had the girl quit, and then I started working on Tuesday, and I worked Tuesday, Wednesday, got called in early yesterday, and ended up getting off a little bit early, but it was just madness. And then I was told yesterday that I was going to go ahead and be promoted into that new position that my boss had kind of briefly talked about. Like, the timeline kept getting shorter. Originally, it was like by Christmas, and then the girl quit, and then it was by the end of next week, and now it's effective like Monday. So everything's happening really fast, but I love my job. I absolutely love working there. We have an absolute blast. The girls that I work with are wonderful. My boss is amazing. I just couldn't ask for a better job. Like, I love going to work. I get to go to work and play dress up. Like, I get to go to work and have customers come in the store, and I get to dress them up, have them try new things, try colors that they haven't ever worn before, or something that they're not really comfortable with wearing, and it's an amazing feeling. You know, yesterday I had a customer that had never worn a shade of pink in her life and ended up buying, you know, 3 shirts in 3 different shades of pink because she realized that it really does look amazing on her. And she felt so proud and so happy. And I got to be a part of that because I suggested that. And it's just little stuff like that makes me, so happy to do every day. So I have the best job in the world. I get to go to work and I get to play dress up and I get to play with clothes and jewelry. And it's just amazing. But we are not here to talk about playing dress up or amazing first weeks at work. We are here for GA Flashback Friday, where we recap a past episode of Ghost Adventures. And this week's episode needs no introduction. We are returning to Bobby Mackey's, and this is going to be a very different Flashback Friday because you guys know the history of Bobby Mackey's. It's one of the most popular episodes of Ghost Adventures to this day. I think it always will be. We know the history of Carl and him, you know, surviving his exorcism, and we know the story of Johanna, and we know the story of Pearl Bryan, and we know of the satanic rituals that have went on there, and how this is the gates of hell. We are fully aware, so I don't need to give this place an introduction. We all know what this place is fully capable of. The crew originally went to Bobby Mackey's in 2008. It was the first episode of Ghost Adventures to ever be watched, and it was amazing. Zach got scratched, and they just had a really, really horrible experience. In 2009, they took 100 of the Ghost Adventures fans to Bobby Mackey's for a private investigation. That investigation is what led up to them returning to Bobby Mackey's for this investigation. In 2009, it got really personal really fast, and it got really, really dangerous. At the end of the first episode of Ghost Adventures, Zach consulted Bishop James Long, who was the presiding Archbishop of the United States Catholic Church in Kentucky. And he had him come back, and he had him come in 2009 to the event there. And Bishop Long was affected. He got scratched on his hand, and they were pretty gnarly looking. I mean, you could tell that like a claw had went in and like gouged his hands. Dave Schrader was there, and he had come once again with the Hack Shack, which was one of the first spirit boxes. On the Hack Shack, they got, Zach got called Z-Man, which is a nickname that only his dad called him. No one else knew that. So the spirits were really affecting Zach. There was Tara Boren, who was the GAC event coordinator for the event there. Her little girl came through the Shack Hack, it said, "Mommy, Mommy, help," but it sounded just like her daughter, to the point where she had to call home and make sure that everything was okay. But the saddest one was it played on Aaron's personal life, and Bobby Mackey's is one of the only places that the guys have ever had anything follow them home. Nick had pots and pans banging in his kitchen. Zach had a rosary bead set taken off of a girlfriend's neck that he was dating at the time and put in a room down the hall with the door closed. But Aaron was probably affected the most. He believes that about 80% of the reason that his marriage failed was due to Bobby Mackey's. He would come home and have the same, him and his wife would have the same dream of Bobby Mackey trying to get into their window and couldn't get in. Like, they would both dream it. I mean, this girl had never been there. When Aaron would go on the road, whatever had followed him home would torment her. And she just couldn't take it. And he didn't want her to have to deal with that anymore. And so he's like, we're best friends, but we had to call it off because we just couldn't do this anymore. It was just playing too much into our emotions. And in 2009, when they went back, the Hack Shack and the digital recorder both played into Aaron's personal issues, and it really upset him. He had to leave for a while. He had to get out of there because it was just emotionally breaking him down. So when the guys went back this time, it was personal. This was not, oh, we've gotten new evidence of a new haunting. This was, we are here to tell you to leave us alone. We are here to call you out and make whatever you're doing to us stop, because we can't do this anymore. They brought in Bishop Long once again. His intention was to bless the place with a smaller crowd. There's a lot less chance of a large number of people getting hurt. So with just the three of them and Bishop Long, they went in to bless the place. Now, Bishop Long explained to them that he did have the book with him to do a minor rite of exorcism should the need arise and any of the guys get affected on a more personal level, that he would, he is prepared to do an exorcism if needed. During lockdown was so different because they already, like I said, they already know the spirits there. They already know what's going on there. So they were just there for redemption. They were there to take a stand and be like, this is ridiculous. You're not going to do this anymore. So they started in the main hall and they called out to Johanna. Johanna is the girl who committed suicide in the attic crawl space of Bob Mackey's. And Zach, had kind of had a personal experience with Johanna the last time he was there, and so he called her out, but they didn't feel anything. The energy was not there. They're like, we've been here enough to know that when something is not here, it's not here. And so they kind of moved on, and then just like that, it switched. The energy changed. It got really dark really fast. And they got some pretty intense EVPs. One that says, I'm going to kill Zach. One that says, I'm going to kill your wife, that they believe was directed toward Nick, because at the time, he was the only one that was married. Then they break out the spirit box. They get, on the spirit box, they get Zachary. They get afraid of heights, which we all know Zach is terrified of heights. So it's playing into Zach's personal emotions, trying to break him down. They get Bishop Long, Bad Day. And then they get some pretty bad EVPs. Ones that say, don't F it up. It's going to go down with the bishop. And then as Bishop Long is blessing the place toward the end of lockdown, it's almost sunup at this point. They've been playing with these demons for a while now. It's kind of all taking its toll on everybody. Aaron's been affected. Zach's been affected. Nick's been affected. They've all felt sick. They've all had the oppressive state put on them. But Zach gets affected the most. He brings up to James. He's like, I'm just feeling weird. And Bishop James can tell something is very wrong. And he looks at Aaron and Nick, and he kind of words the book, which means the book of the exorcism. It's not shown in the episode because Zach chose not to have that shown, which I understand. It's a very personal thing. But Bishop Long did have to perform a minor rite of exorcism on Zach that night, and it was, to him, really, really scary. Aaron was very affected as the bishop was cleansing the place. He wanted to kill him. He's like, I just wanted to kill him, and I told him that. I was like, I wanted to kill you. And Aaron got emotional when they were talking about it at the end of the episode. He started to cry, and he started to get choked up, and I think it just shows you how genuine these guys are. They don't want to feel this place anymore. They don't want to hurt anymore, and that's not who they are. And to talk like that to someone that they respect, especially Aaron. Aaron's a big teddy bear. He doesn't want to ever hurt anybody. And it was really, really sad to watch him go through that. And that was the episode that showed that said, we would never go back. We all know that now, since, Nick wants to ride the money train and be a little, whatever. He has went back to Bobby Mackey's and did an event there which I think is stupid. I think you're putting so many people in danger, including yourself, your kids, your wife. I think it's ridiculous. I don't think there was any reason for you to go back. You had nothing to redeem. You had nothing, you know, you've done that 3 times. Don't go back there anymore. But Nick and Aaron, or Zach and Aaron, rather, have never been back, and I don't think they will. Even when Carl passed away, who was the caretaker, Carl Lawson, who was the caretaker at Bobby Mackey's, who had the full exorcism performed on him back in 91. When he passed away, they were actually with Billy and Jay, and Billy ended up going in there and paying respects because Aaron and Zach just could not bring themselves to going back in there and exposing themselves to that, because they knew that once the spirits knew that they were set back in that place, that it could have gotten really bad really fast, and they had just kind of gotten past all that, cleansed all of that. They'd moved on from all of that, and they didn't want to deal with it anymore. And so this episode was more of redemption. This was more of standing our ground and taking back what was theirs and not letting the spirits win anymore, and then leaving those doors and never coming back and closing that chapter in their lives. But that is all I had for GA Flashback Friday. I will be back on Monday for GA Recap Monday, where I recap the newest episode of Ghost Adventures. Until then, stay happy, stay healthy, have a great, amazing, wonderful weekend. Much love and happiness, guys. Bye.